What's good? What's good? What's good, you two? Y'all already know what time it is. Once again, it's the one on OG Hollywood coming back at you with the Ferguson Chronicles, where we keep it 110 all the way across the board, where nothing is ever scripted, man. Y'all already know what time it is. Before I even get started, hit that like button, subscribe button. Most of all, share this informative information, man. Today I have in studio an individual born and raised in San Antonio, Texas, man. He's here today to tell his story of his time spent in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. But always remember to go to www.com, OG Hollywood Speaks, and get that Savage Drive gear, man. Because you got to be a savage in this world. You got to have the drive to be able to get where you're going. So without further ado, let's tap in with this individual, please. What's good, Dirty?
Hey, how you doing, man? Salute to the OG Hollywood, man, for making this platform happen for everybody out there, man. I just want to say salute to all the fathers out there. Happy Father's Day.
So, man, before we get started, I'd like to say my appreciation for coming on to give your real spiel on the Ferguson Chronicle, man, where we swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, right? So, man, go ahead and tell the people where you're from. In other words, give them a small overview of where you're from, what led to the prison, and how much time you had.
Well, as y'all can see on the name tag, you know what I'm saying, I'm OG Do Dirty. I'm Do Dirty, but, you know, I've been representing my hood, my neighborhood for the longest, so I'm a G out there in the streets of my neighborhood and known to the little homies. I'm from San Antonio, Texas, as Hollywood spoke on, East Side, East Terrace to be exact, born and raised. I became affiliated with my neighborhood through birth. It wasn't something that we had to go in, get initiated to get involved in or whatever. Majority of my hood, we was all born and raised right here. And we just morphed until everybody started calling us East Terrace gangsters. And so that's what I represent, ETG. I'm not a gangbanger no more. However, I am an East Terrace representative. As you can see, full-fledged East Terrace. This is what we do. I'm more about on some positive stuff, and we're going to get back to that. But, however, I received a 30-year sentence in 1992 for a senseless gang-related shooting. Really had nothing to do with me, but riding for the homies, you know. I shot somebody at the basketball court in broad daylight, and it was behind my homeboy. And what's ironic is that the homeboy that I killed this man behind is the one who told on me and wound up making statements and got me to 30 years. Like I said, I was sentenced to 30 years in TDC. I made my way to TDC in 1994, and because I spent 2 years in the county jail fighting my case. And so I made my way to TDC in 1994. My first unit was French Robinson. That was the first unit I approached. From French Robinson, I wound up being on Ferguson, where I was allowed and had the privilege to meet OG Hollywood. I did close to 10 years on Ferguson. Then I got a hardship and I went to Torres unit. From Torres, I signed up for an HVAC trade. I wound up going to High Tower. From High Tower, I went to Ramsey 3. From Ramsey 3, I went to Jordan unit. From Jordan unit, I made parole. I wound up doing 26 years on my 30-year sentence. And the ironic part, I had a 30-year from the old law, which means I only had to do a quarter of my sentence. However, due to how I was acting in the beginning of my sentence, I wound up doing 26 years. I received 10 set-offs before they finally released me. 2 3-year set-offs, and then 8 back-to-back 2-year set-offs. No, 7 back-to-back 2-year set-offs, and then I got a 1, and then I got an FI5, and I had to do 6 months in the FI5 program, drug program, before they finally released me to a halfway house in Corpus, and now I'm home.
So let me ask you a question, man. So, what was it like for you when you arrived at that the first unit that you were sent to in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice?
When I got to French Robinson, It was because I kept hitting when you go through the sociology and they start telling you in at diagnostics, when you go to diagnostics and then they ship me to go read and you get in the gym and they tell you what unit you're going to and all that. It was a bunch of old school cats that I knew from the county jail and doing different stints at different places. And so when they said French Robinson, one of the old schools I knew was like, "Where you going, youngster?" I was like, "They say French Robinson in Abilene." And he was like, "Damn, why they sending you up there? Damn, youngster." And then it was another old school cat, and he was like, "They sending him up there because he probably a young gangbanger. It's a lot of gangbangers up there, and sure as shit stank." When I got up there, it was nothing but gang banging going on over there. I had the chance to meet people out of Como like Thumbhead. I met Dre Lee brother Snake over there. I met a lot of brothers over there. I also got a chance to meet somebody that was close to me and you while we was on Ferguson. That's actually where I met Vic at, Slick Vic, Victor Johnson. That's where I met him at. And so I wound up doing a little time over there, and then something just made me sign up for 2-year college. But when I signed up for 2-year college, that's when they shot me to Ferguson.
So, what was the difference between the French Robinson unit and the Ferguson unit?
It really wasn't a difference. The only thing that made it different is because Robinson was my first unit. That was my first experience with TDC. Ferguson, I was already conditioned because I went through it at Robinson. But when I got to Ferguson, everybody that was on Robinson, what was amazing, damn near came out Ferguson, Beto, Cofield, and Terrell unit. It's like when they opened up Robinson, they said they sent a bunch of chain buses from Ferguson over there. So it was a bunch of Ferguson mentality already on Robinson. You had people that was on Ferguson back in the gap like Khaki James. You had cats like CC, some known individuals that was over there, you know what I'm saying, some heavy hitters. And they was all on Robinson, and they always constantly talked about Ferguson. And another person that I know you familiar with, my homeboy Asbury, he was over there on Robinson with me when I got there. But he wound up coming back to Ferguson when I got shipped to Ferguson. So I already knew what was going to happen and what was going on at Ferguson when I first got there. I already knew what to expect because all these dudes had come out Ferguson and they told me about Ferguson.
So, like you said, you already knew what to expect. What was it like for you on the Ferguson unit as a gang member?
Really, when I first got to Ferguson, I don't care what you was, whether you was a Crip or a Blood, folk or disciple, they really wasn't tripping on gang banging like that. That came a little later. When I first got there, it was all about where was you from. If you was from San Antonio, you know, San Antonio really not looked at. It's some niggas stumped down out of San Antonio, came through there, but I'm not gonna be naive to just sit up here and speak and just say San Antonio was just motherfuckers was just on San Antonio like that. San Antonio, we a small town. Everybody say we about Mexicans, but we got some heavy hitters and some hard hitters up out of here that's gonna stand on their own. And so it was all about, nigga, if you was from H-Town or you was from Dallas, that's what it was all about, whether you was a Crip or a Blood. When I first got there, it wasn't on no gang banging shit. That came later.
So let's talk about the setup in the day room. What was the difference between French Robinson's setup as far as inmates in the day room and the Ferguson setup day room?
The thing that sets apart French Robinson day room and the Ferguson day room, first of all, is the space. French Robinson day room is way bigger, so you ain't got to be on top of each other in the day room. But when you get to Ferguson day room, if you just ain't no solid individual, you're gonna be very uncomfortable because it's hot. You sitting in this day room and you right up on top of the next man, and he might be a solid, hard individual, and it just might be just hot that day, and they just get an attitude, and they might be cool, but they might have a scrap just just on the fact that it's hot and they irritated and shit in this day room. Niggas walk with the cardboard fans trying to blow, and anything just might set them off. They'll scrap, and then 30 minutes later they drinking coffee together, bro.
And that's fact. So I know you said it was hot in the day room, right? So what was the circulation as far as French Robinson day room, as far as getting air in the Ferguson day room? How was air transmitted through the day room?
French Robinson day room, they really didn't have no windows. You had that one little window over there by the bathroom on one row where you could push it out a little bit. It really was no windows. Ferguson, we had them windows in front of the rec yard or whatever, and still, it really wasn't no windows, but air circulation, they had this one little fan. This was before, like nowadays, where they got damn near 50 fans and swamp coolers all on the tanks now. It's crazy, because Hollywood, what y'all probably don't know is I've been violated 4 times since I've been home these 5 years, but I never got violated to go back to TDC. I went to ISF 4 times due to a monitor violation, deferring from my not staying on the monitor schedule or whatever. It could be anything. I go to work and forget my XT at home. You know, the part, they got that monitor where you got to wear on your hip. I was on that bitch for a long time, bro. Yeah. And so I had to go to wear it everywhere I went, and I go to work and forget it. They wouldn't give me no chances. Anytime I caught a case like that, I got violated, and they sent me to ISF. So I've been back. ISF ain't supposed to be TDC, but you're going to TDC. I was in transit on Darrington and all that, and we ain't even supposed to be with TDC dudes, but they put us back with TDC dudes. And so now they got big-ass swamp coolers in the day room where they put water in, and they keep the whole day. Man, it is crazy now, the way they got it set up now. But we just had one fan back then on the French Robinson day room. But in the Ferguson day room, it wasn't no fans.
So let's talk about how did you manage to just, get along in the day room where it's hot, no fans, sitting on top of each other. How did you manage just to get along?
Man, pretty much what we pretty much did. The dudes we fucked with, we came in the day room with our coffee, our pretty drinks or whatever, and we tried to make each other laugh all day by talking crazy to each other, bro. Unless it was some funk going on. If it wasn't no funk, how we managed to get along, the dudes that start caring about each other and start having solid relationships with each other and stuff, man, we sit up in that day room, tell stories, tell jokes, and we laugh all day and make each other laugh all day. That's how I got through the heat and all that, you know what I'm saying? However, as me and you been on the tanks and the blocks together, I was in school a lot. And so that's another way that I got through, because, they had AC in school. So I go down there to that college program and sit up in that AC and try to escape the heat or whatever. But as far as anything else, I don't know if that's what you was asking me for, or if you asking me about the funk and the irritation when that shit jump off. Yeah. But as far as just chilling, shit, we just made each other laugh all day. You already know that.
So, the setup in the day room, how was it for you as far as the setup where blacks on one side, Hispanics on one side, whites on one side? How did that look to you when you got on the Ferguson unit?
When I got to Ferguson, the reason it was separated, but the reason why it didn't affect me because I went through it in our county. When you go in our county, it's the same type of setup. You got where the Mexicans keep. Well, now it ain't like that. But back then, in the 90s, in the early 90s, our counties was our county jail is so segregated to where the Mexicans on one side and the blacks on one side, and white boys just got in where they fit in, and that wasn't nothing new to me. So when I came through there and I saw it, I mean, shit, it is what it is. I'm used to it. You had Mexico and you had Africa. Blacks sat in Africa, the Africa section we called Africa. You Mexicans sat in the Mexico section. It wasn't until I think it was around 97, 98, they came through there and said we had to mix it up, and they started racking us up if we didn't keep it mixed up. I can't remember what year that was when we was on Ferguson when they did us like that.
So let me ask you this, man. What was it like for you if you was in the field? I don't know what your job status was, but if you was in the field when you turned out for work, what was that like for you?
The fields, that was a situation that, man, I wouldn't wish that on nobody. Just the mental aspect of the fields. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it came to picking cotton. You know, they had them cotton fields over there that go for miles. You stand up in that cotton field over there, it look like you see miles and miles of snow. And ironically, last night on the panel, or was that last night or the night before last when we had the panel, and Dewberry mentioned the children of the corn. I was out there when Dewberry, Kabaye, Blue Jay, Lil Stank out of Thomas Ford Bland, out of Baytown, Salute Stank, Lil Pac them, they all had that children of the corn thing going on. I was in the fields when that happened. And you know, me being who I was, by the time I had made it to Ferguson, I had kind of already was slowing down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't out there. I think I had like 3 fights on Ferguson. One I got beat up. And the other 2 was somebody came over there on some bullshit about some free world shit. But I had 3 fights, so I didn't really have a lot of fights on Ferguson because I was, you know, I stayed out the way unless a motherfucker fucked with me. I kicked it, did my job or whatever. But I was in the fields and I never had a fight out there. No, I take that back. I had 1 fight in the fields when I first got there. Dude was telling me I wasn't doing enough work, and Peacock let him, me and the dude get out scratch or whatever. But the fields is something that I wouldn't wish on nobody, man. I hated that shit, man. Dudes, it was so raw. Dudes was breaking their own feet in the cell bars so they wouldn't have to go to the fields over there. We had to go 2 halves when I first got there. When you came in at lunch, it wasn't no laying down and getting in the bunk. You was finna go back out there till 4, 5 o'clock. When Unifield or whoever it was, not Unifield, that was on Fritz Robinson, Smith or I forget, Florino raised that motherfucker. You was gonna be out there in that hot ass sun till them boys raised that hot ass, or Peacock or one of them cook boys raised that motherfucking hat and let you in. And that, man, that's slavery, bro. I wouldn't wish that on nobody, man. That was a traumatizing experience for me just to pick cotton, knowing the history that when I talked to my grandma and them, and they talked about picking cotton, they was forced to do that. And knowing that they put us right back through this, it's like the cycle went around, and now I'm picking cotton. And I thought about that, and it had a hell of a mental impact on me, man. And it caused me to, in some cases, make bad decisions because I laid it down. I probably could have been home, Hollywood.
Yeah.
I laid it down based upon that shit.
So, I know she said you've been back to ISF 5 times, right? And
4.
You went and 4 times, and you went through Darrington, right?
Yeah.
So for that to happen to you, knowing that you did 26 years, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about some of the activities that go on down there now versus when you was doing your 26-year stint. What are some of the activities that you see, although you're not even in population? What are those guys doing down there now?
Hollywood, it's so OJ Hollywood, bro. It's so it's hard to explain because it probably was the most depressing time of my life. I used to sit and just analyze, man, what kind of man was when you came down here at 17 years old for you to just experience this from the county jail process through going through transit and all that, getting on that chain bus. When I was 17, man, it was like it wasn't nothing when I first did it. But as an adult now, I'm 48 years old now, and to be put on the chain bus and be shackled and chained to another man again, going through this process again as a 48-year-old individual is something totally different. So now I'm sitting here and they giving you them the peanut butter Johnny sacks again, right? And so to get this Johnny sack after coming from the world, eating steaks and burgers and all this when I want to, and now I got to go through this. I was so depressed, H. Wood. I was so depressed. Not only was I depressed because of the conditions that they have going on down there. They say they done made it easier for people to do time now, and they have. However, but people like us that have certain principles and certain morals about ourselves, it's not easy. It's hard because nowadays down there in TDC, they got what you call an accountability factor. You know, say back in the days we had a fight in the Dayroom. They came and got the people out their room, asked them, was it over with? It was cool. They might have got some restriction or something. Nowadays, they lock the tank down for 72 hours, Hollywood. No, they call it a 2359. They knock you down for 23 hours and 59 minutes because they can't keep you locked down for 24 hours now unless they got an official reason. And just a fight, they use that, what they call investigation. They call it 2359 investigation. So now they lock the unit down and they start going cell to cell until they get the two individuals that was fighting, right? So now you have to suffer. For it might not even had anything to do with me and you. It might be two other people fighting. But now me and you got to suffer and go through all this shit because they putting that snitch factor down in the penitentiary for real. And it's not just like new units. It's everywhere. It's going on Ferguson now. It's going on the Betos now. Now, don't get me wrong. It's still some stumped down individuals down there because there's a lot of boys that got live sentences. But what's going on in the penitentiary now is not going on down there now. You know what I'm saying? It's a hell of a snitch factor and a snitch program going on down there. They got open door policies now. Open door policies to where you just walk in the captain's office and just give them what you want. You know what I'm saying? Give them the spiel that you want. It's just crazy.
So what's the drug of choice down there amongst those inmates?
Man, bro, they doing some shit that I call that they call K2. They got different strands of it or whatever. But the first time I seen the shit, I thought it was some potpourri, right? I'm like, man, what the fuck is that? He was like, man, this is that synthetic marijuana. And I'm like, what the fuck is synthetic marijuana? He was like, man, I'm telling you, it's just like weed, right? And I was like, nah, bro, if it ain't real, I don't want to mess with it. And so the next thing I know, one of my partners talked me into doing it, right? So I hit one of the little things or whatever. I don't know. You ain't supposed to hit this boy like you hitting a real joint or nothing. Hollywood, H-Wood, man, bro. When I tell you, man, when I hit this shit, bro, I was just happy and glad that I was able to make it back to my cell. I made it back to my cell, and it was like, man, I thought I was gonna die, bro. I actually thought I was gonna die, bro. And I started seeing, hold up, bro, I ain't even had a child yet. You know what I'm saying? I started seeing different things start going through my head that I wanted to accomplish that I ain't did. I ain't had a kid yet because I got locked up at 17. So I ain't had a kid yet. This is all going while I was full of this K2. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about and now you got these dudes. I seen a dude jump off 3-row behind it. Yeah. I seen a dude think we coming back from chow early in the morning from breakfast, roll his cell. He don't want to go in his cell. He's saying his cell is full of snakes. And I look up there, ain't nothing in this goddamn room. So I'm like, man, I don't want to do nothing like that, bro. And this is what they living off of. And dudes will have a trip to where they got to go to. I seen a dude have a tripped out so bad he had to go to the hospital. They shot him to the hospital. When he came back, first thing he said, but because they got a test for it, but it's so expensive that they don't use it. Yeah, you know how TDC is. They don't use it. The dude came back fresh through the Dayroom door and went right to the Max man and said, man, I want another one of those.
Who he went to?
The Max man. They call him because they call it Climax.
Okay.
So they call it the Max man.
So that's the new word, Max man.
Max man. So
is it old school smoking the K2 or the new school?
It's new school. Every now and then you'll catch an old school doing it, but for the most part, it's the younger generation. Them are the ones that's really involved in themselves, and they doing it just like we'll blow some weed or something. Yeah. Shit, they blowing that shit just like it was weed.
So let me ask this, because I know, when we was in there, it was a hell of a thing to try to get in the commissary line. What that's like?
Oh, getting in the commissary line, it's damn near the same way. But dudes of our stature and dudes who have navigated through the prison life, we know how to get ourselves in a position in order to where we can do shit. I always had jobs especially after leaving Ferguson. Ferguson, Once again, I salute Ferguson teach a nigga how to navigate. After leaving Ferguson, I always had jobs where I was in position to where all I say, man, put me in this commissary line. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, niggas is fighting, trying to get in the commissary line still. They still squabbling over the commissary line. Somebody will try to be smart and make a list, and it's always somebody on the wing that's a tough guy that's gonna say, man, fuck that list. Soon as they roll their doors and say 10 for commissary, I'm getting in the line, and if you get in my way, I'm gonna knock your bitch ass out. It's always somebody that's gonna. So it's still the same.
So let me ask this. I know you said school, right? You know, which I know you was always in school. So as far as school, what kind of educational accomplishment did you achieve?
Man, if it was anything that I could say that's great about TDC, if it was anything that I could say that was great about TDC, it's the education and the level of education that you can reach just by being in TDC. Me, I got 3 associate's degrees while I was down there. I got an HVAC certification, college trade, applied science college trade while I was down there. I also got that food prep class, pastry chef certification while I was down there. And I got serve safe food handler's license while I was down there. I got a horticulture trade and I got a control technology trade while I was down there. I also got a bachelor's degree, and I was 5 classes short of a master's degree when I made parole.
Once again, people realize story when you get that nowhere else. But here at the Ferguson Chronicle, man, where we have Duke Dirty live in the Dayroom. And like I said, when I mean Dayroom, the free word is only a big day room. It's just with more technology out here and things that can bring you closer to your goal. That's if you have one. Born and raised San Antonio, Texas, East Terrace in the house. So let me ask you this, man. So transformation back into society.
Mm-hmm.
After 26 years, what was that like for you coming home the first day?
Typically, you know, I probably just like the next man. I was ready to get out and get at it. But if you believe in a higher power, God has something else in store for me. I'm thinking, shit, I did 26 years on a 30. I just got 4 years of parole left. I actually did 25 and 8 months. 25 and 8 months. So I was 4 months shy of 26, but I just say 26 to rhyme. So I was ready to get out there and get at it, but God has something else different for me. He allowed me to sit down and just watch for the duration that I was on parole. Because I told y'all the other night, I've been on the GPS monitor all the way up until January 12th of this year. I was on the GPS monitor from February 2018 all the way to January of this year. I was on the GPS monitor. So the only thing I could do is go to work and come home. But he allowed me to sit back and watch, because I don't think after just being out and watching and paying attention to what's going on, all the drama, all the tragic incidents that took place in my life, to me personally and people that's close to me since I've been home, I wasn't ready. If I wouldn't have been on that GPS monitor, I'd probably be back in the penitentiary with a whole bunch of more time. And it wasn't because I was stupid. It's because being emotional at a particular time, when something tragic happened to somebody that's close to you, you want to, you know what I'm saying, act out. So I don't think I was ready, but God had the plan to sit me down and look, nigga, I'm finna make you finna go to work and you finna come home and you finna take care of the people that's around you, your immediate family, and you finna sit and watch what's going on in these streets. I'm not telling you, this is what I feel like was it brought up in me. God wasn't telling me that he want me to cut myself off from the connection that I have with these brothers in the streets, but he want me to see, nigga, you got something else, nigga. All that training you did while you was in prison, when you was going to school and you was involved in the Islamic community and things like that, you have something that you need to be doing while you out here. You know what I'm saying? And right now you on some bullshit. you're sitting up here just smoking. Yeah, you working and you staying out the way, but you're smoking all day, you're drinking all day. You have something else you need to be doing. And I believe this is the catalyst. Me talking to individuals like you and me doing stuff like you. So my transformation, it wasn't a big thing with me. Now I'm still having problems with navigating like computer systems and shit like that. My girl had to show me how to fix me a fountain drink in McDonald's because it was touchscreen when I
Yeah.
came. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at the motherfucking thing like, you know, I'm used to you grab the cup, put the thing up there, put your little ice in the motherfucker. I ain't used to have to press all these goddamn screens on this button. You know what I'm saying? The phone. My 5-year-old niece had to show me how to navigate my cell phone. You know what I'm saying? And so that part of the transformation was hard before us. What I needed to get out here and do as a man, nah, bro. I was ready to get out here and perform.
So let me ask this, man. So because you know, sometimes people hate to admit this right here, right? 26 years in one place, doing the same thing repetitively over and over, right? Like getting up, and you got somewhere to go the next day, you'll get up and fold your clothes, and the same thing you did when you was down there, right?
Yeah.
So, do you ever find yourself doing any of those things?
Man, bro, my family tell me all the time I'm fucked up. For they feel like institutionalization. I got a problem with, I got OCD. You know how we have OCD about cleaning ourselves in the penitentiary, right? Bro, I gotta have the seasoning, got all the labels gotta be facing the same way. I you can't have, you know how when we was in our cell, you see a little piece of lint on your floor, you pick it up. I just picked up some lint off the carpet, Hollywood, and I've been home. I seen some lint on the carpet. I picked it up, H-Wood, and I've been home 5 years. So I ain't gonna say it's fucked up, but certain things like that, like stuff that the people that's used to being out here and staying out here, they wouldn't sweat. I sweated, and I might get upset about seeing one of the kids might leave a piece of toilet paper on the floor. I see that shit fucks with me. Cause if I saw that in the cell, 9 times out of 10, you might have had a fight with your cellie if your
No
cellie
doubt.
left some hair or something on the floor. So
Yeah.
I see one of the kids leave some toilet paper on the floor. I'm like, who the fuck left this toilet paper on the floor? You know what I'm saying? I be going in and they be telling me I'm fucked up all the time. I ain't gonna use a lot.
So let me ask this, man. So, no, now you free, right? And you see what's going on just in society, right? You
Yep.
know what to get involved in, you know what not to get involved in, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's start with what not to get involved in.
What not to get involved in is anything that's not gonna positively benefit you, those that you love, and the community that you care about. Those are the things that you don't get involved in. If it's not gonna positively come or whatever's going on, it's not gonna positively benefit you, those you love, and the community that you're involved in. Don't sweat it. The things that I do want to get involved in are the things that are gonna uplift me, myself, my family, and the people that I love and the community that I'm in.
So let me ask you this, man. Uh, and I know you more than equipped to handle this question, right? How do we change the youth mind uh, without offending them, as far as making them look like they don't know what they're talking about, or making it look like they losing their independence because we have an opinion in how they live their life. In other words, try to stop them from going through what Do Dirty went through and giving 26 years of his life away.
I come to the realization of this. Some of our youth are gonna live that 26. They're gonna do that 26 years. It's just something that I've come to, but I'm not saying that that one individual that I've come to the conclusion that he's gonna do 26 years. It's not saying that he's a lost cause and he don't deserve no positive advice or whatever. But me, what I've learned to do with the youth, because all my little homies, majority of them, they love me and they got an affinity to kick it around me. They want to be around me and shit like that. But I listen to them. And I'm not saying just in the conversation. Hollywood, I listen to their music. I'm not going to say I don't like him, but I don't like his music because it's annoying. His voice is annoying, but they love him. But I listen to him because he talking the language of the kids, NBA Youngboy. I listen to the boy because he's talking the language of the kids. He's talking the language of the kids, so I listen to him. I listen to people like King Von. I listen to Lil Durk. I don't like that drill music. Get me to listening to some NWA, some Too Short, some Big Mike, some Scarface, some Ghetto Boys. You know what I'm saying? I'm listening to these cats because when they telling the hood stories, it's not in a glorified manner. They just talking about basically what's going on but the difference between, and I'm not saying that they wrong. They got their right to express how they living and what they're seeing the way that they want. But when it starts affecting 5-year-old girls that may be my niece or my cousin, I got an issue with it. When it start affecting 10-year-old girls that may be my daughter, I got an issue with it. So I have to come up with a solution. I can't roughhouse them because their guns is bigger than mine. They got more guns than me. Hollywood, I ain't never seen a gun with a switch until the other day. I ain't never seen a gun as big as one of these guns these little young niggas had to the day. They got more money than us. I'm willing to admit they hustle is way more liver than ours. They scamming on a level that we wasn't doing. They are having, it's easier for them to have money. And that's one of the reasons why they won't listen to us, because they having more money than we was ever having out there. And it just really ain't about them. But see, that still won't stop you from getting to them if you really and truly care about them and trying to get to them. Just listen to the environment that they're around. And then you will learn how to communicate with them. You know what I'm saying? I showed a dude that, because me and him was having an argument, because he told me, I was telling him about what he was doing, and the youngster was telling me that, man, nigga, I make $1,000 a day.
Yeah.
But I came up with an idea. I said, look, let me show you something. I said, I ain't got $1,000 a day, so I can't do this. But this is what you can do right now. I pulled up the little information on Google. This is what you can do right here. Not only could you make $1,000 a day, but you can have 500 more. So now it's $1,500 a day. And it's more than what you're doing out there that's illegally and that's causing problems. And this is what this young nigga doing now. He done got his DBA and he doing that. But I just ain't got the money to do it. You know what I'm saying? So you got to show them. You can't tell somebody that's making $5,000 a day dealing drugs to stop, to take up a 9-to-5. No, substitute for that. Slick, you got all the answers. If you got the answers to these youth and what they need to do, you got to come up with some solutions to substitute and argument the money that they having right now. If you can't do that, you ain't gonna get their ear.
And that's facts. So let me ask this here, man. So San Antonio, Texas right now, right? If you had one word to describe San Antonio, Texas, to all the people around the world that don't know San Antonio from a hole in the ground, what would that be?
If I had one word to describe San Antonio, Texas, beautiful. Regardless of what's going on in the streets, beautiful. And not just because I live here. San Antonio was a military town. Fort Sam, Houston, we had Lackland, we had Randolph, we had Brooks, we had all these Air Force bases and military bases down. It's a military, so we have groups of individuals from everybody think it's just it's a lot of Mexicans down here, but nah, we got individuals from all over the world, bro, that stop here due to the military. And so, majority of them make their homes here after they've been here for they stint in the military. So this is what we have. We have a variety of everything down here, bro. Every group of people, every nationality, and other cities do too. But ours it's like a big ass melting pot, man. But right now we on fire in the streets. It's on fire.
So, Dirty Man, let me ask this here. And once again, I know you qualified to do it. That's why I'm asking you, right? what is your advice to anybody that's watching this video, man? And because sometimes people think that we're on here trying to glorify the state of the prison or the state of mind or what we've been through. For whatever reason it is, they feel like we're trying to glorify that. So what would you want to tell them right now?
I would never glorify prison. Me. And I don't think none of these individuals that have been coming up here on this panel since this panel was created, the Dayroom, glorifying what we've been through in prison. Because 9 times out of 10, I'm willing to bet every piece of change that I have, if you ask any one of these individuals who've been up here on this panel, would they trade what they have going on right now to be back in the Dayroom, the real Dayroom? And they would say no. So this is not a glorification of what we're doing, but what we are doing is bringing our real 100%, 110%, as OG Hollywood likes to say, 110% experiences that we had behind them cell bars. We're bringing it to the forefront. This is what we go through. So maybe one of them mothers who was upset with her son because she feel like he's not doing what she want him to do, she want to call the laws on him, she would think twice about it. It's not easy and it's not pretty being down there. You may think it's better for us to be locked up, but it's never better for us to be locked up. We just bringing attention and understanding to what we live through. And we done it for years. Your uncles, your brothers, your fathers, even your sons, and your cousins. We all experienced this prison life. And it's not a glorification. I don't think the Dayroom is a glorification. This platform of the Dayroom is a glorification. We just bringing attention to it and making you aware of what we've been, what transpired behind these walls and what we've been through. Me, in my case, 26 years. In another individual's case, because we can go on and on and on of brothers who've been incarcerated for decades upon decades upon decades. I got a little cousin been down there since he was 15 years old. He's on McConnell Unit right now. I just got off the phone with him probably about 30 minutes ago. But Melvin is 45. He been down there since he was 15, bro. Certified as an adult. And what bothers me is because he tried to mimic and follow me. My little cousin was he tried to. So me telling my story, maybe we can get my kinfolk on here or tell his story. It's not a glorification, but I'm gonna tell you what's going on in order to deter people from experiencing this. Never think that we're trying to glorify what we've been through in prison. Because it's not a stamp and it's not a stripe. It's not an OG card for me. I don't think it's an OG card. An OG card for me is if I can come out here, stop 2, 3 of these youngsters from killing each other. That's an OG stripe. That's an OG card. That's an OG card. I don't get stripes for telling the stories. That's why you notice I didn't just really talk about me down there fighting.
Fact.
And I had more than 3 fights in the penitentiary. I just had 3 on Ferguson. I had more than 3 fights. I can talk about my fight. I can talk about you remember that the incident that me and Vic took place between me and Vic on A block.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I can talk about that. That's not what I'm gonna do. I don't want to talk about the drama and the beef. I understand sometimes it's necessary, like in the instance the other night with the 2 brothers on there. And I still pray that Dewberry and old boy get that shit together. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, if you have influence, and I have influence, we come together. Now we done doubled our influence. You know what I'm saying? Now we can do something to make it better for me and you and the ones that come after us. But never will I glorify prison life. Never would I even support anything that glorifies prison life.
Hardcore facts, man. Once again, real life story, real life people. Can't get that nowhere here but at the Ferguson Chronicle, where we keep it 110 all the way across the board, man. So like I do when I get ready to close dirty, man, I hand the show over to the person I'm interviewing, man. The day is no different, right? So at this particular time, man, I want you to close the show on any chord you choose to close it on, man.
The only thing that I'm gonna say, what I want to leave you, first of all, I'm gonna say this. Salute Dewberry. Salute Doc O. Salute OG Hollywood. Salute Big Milk. Salute Def Mac. Salute Slugger. Salute anybody that has went through TDC. If you went through TDC for a day and you out, and that day caused you to alter your thinking to make you get out here and get on your grown man shit, I salute you. The second thing I'm gonna leave you with this, bro. If you're not bringing nothing positive to the table, you shouldn't be eating. And I'm gonna leave you at that. OG Do Dirty, San Antonio, East Terrace representative, 527 representative, and it's gonna always be like that. Now, how I represent is on me, regardless of what y'all say, because I'm not gonna separate it.
Facts, man. Once again, real life story, real life people. You can't get that nowhere else but here at the Ferguson Chronicles. We keep it 110 all the way across the board, man. Been a long time coming. Your spiel is worth having, man. And like I say, man, only if we can save one, we did our job.
Facts.
Right?
Big facts.
It's not to glorify prison, but it is to bring awareness, man. In order to keep the necessary from occurring, this has to be talked about.
Facts.
And from the people on the outside looking in that have their opinion, we all got it. So until next time, Do Dirty, man, salute.
Salute, homie.
Once again, real life people, real life story where you can't get there nowhere else but here at the Ferguson Chronicle, where we keep it 110 all the way across the board, man. Until next time, remember to get that Savage Drive gear at www.oghollywoodspeaks.com.